Welcome to Rack of the Week 194. I am recording this on the 13th, a week before I leave for the straight pool tournament, but this video is going live on Sunday, several days after the straight pool tournament starts. Am I still in the tournament? I don't know. I hope so. Anyway, we'll get into the rack in just a second. As always, I want to thank my top tier supporters on Patreon and YouTube. You can see their names on the screen: John, Christian, Rick, Tom, Brian, Chris, James, John, Corby, Michael, Richard, Fahad, another Richard, Indian Heathen, Charlie, Ken, Rainier, Fred, Leroy, and Christopher. Thank you very much for your support. This rack is a video of a player by the name of Steve Lipsky. I feel that he's a player after my own heart. I've never met him, but I hope to someday. Steve was trying many years to run over 200 balls. He's a 100-ball runner for sure. And he finally achieved his goal of running 200 balls, and it was really heartwarming to read about the things he had to say about that. You can find it on the internet. So I hope to follow in his footsteps sometime soon. I'm not getting any younger. This is a fantastic rack by Steve, and I call it all the way down. Key balls all the way down, and that's a reference to the idea of what holds up the earth. Oh, it's turtles. Well, what holds up the turtle? Well, it's turtles all the way down. So it's a play on words along those lines. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about. Here is the opening break shot. It's a shallow angle on a low break ball. And as you can expect, he's shooting with a top English, but remember that when we look at the break shot at the end of this rack. So cue ball went to the bottom rail and came back up. It nicked another ball and came up here. This is really typical. Still got 6 or 7 balls in the rack area, and then a few balls in all directions from the rack. So that's pretty typical. What would you shoot as your opening shot? Now, a really aggressive straight pool player would shoot the 9 and run into the rack and try and get them all open. We know that's not the right way to play. So he's going to cut the 8 in the side and come down low. And that's the right way to play. The 1 ball is a really good opportunity to get an angle on a ball near the bottom rail and go up into these. You want to do it with insurance if you can. So when you look at the layout right now, it looks like he's checking to see if the 1 ball goes. It doesn't pass, and he doesn't have a shot on the 7. So he has to shoot the 1. What are you going to shoot next? What I'm getting at is there isn't a good opportunity. Let's assume that the 1 ball did pass the 7 into this corner. He might have hit the 8 to leave the cue ball low, because then you can go into the stack of balls softly with an insurance ball in both directions. We don't have that opportunity. So we're starting out the idea of key balls all the way down. You're using a ball to set up for a ball to set up for a ball. So he'd still like to get a low angle on this 1, but the 1 doesn't pass the 7. He has to shoot this 1 ball. Oh, sorry, this is the 5. And get position on the 7 through this window so that he can then get a low angle on the 1 ball from the other side. So the 5 is setting up for the 7, I believe that is, and the 7 setting up for the 1. So first of all, really good touch there. Now he does have a bailout ball, this one up table or this ball on the side, if he didn't achieve this window. But he got the window, taking his time to go check the angle and make sure he can get a low angle on the 1 to go into the stack. Now, when you shoot this 1 ball, there's no insurance, right? We just shot off our insurance ball. So in this case, you got to use some topspin and get the cue ball to go through. And hopefully you're going to have a shot back in this corner or this ball up in the upper corner. So that's what we see there. Now, again, he didn't try to smash them real hard and spread them wide over. Just get through the balls, get a couple more shots loose, and get the cue ball open. It's at this point that the rack is almost completely solved. And like Danny Baruti last week, we don't want to be smashing into the balls once it's mostly solved. We want to try and pick them off. Look at the only problem on the table is these 2 balls. You could call the ball up table a trouble ball as well. But these 2 balls are a bit of a problem, and you might think, oh, I need to nudge those to get them open. But if you can get a shot over here, the 13 goes in this pocket, and look what we have. We have a key ball to set up for that shot. Now, it doesn't go because the 2's there. So the 2's a blocker ball. So we've got to clear the 2 if we wanted to achieve that. Look at him in the other direction, though. Once this 9 ball's gone, it's a blocker ball. Both the 2 and the 13 go in the lower right corner pocket. Now, Steve's reviewing the table. He's looking at the layout, and he sees that. I have no doubt that he sees that. So you want to figure out a way. And by the way, I believe that this, I'm not certain, but I believe this ball does pass the 2 in the corner. So you're looking at access to these balls. So Steve is noticing a pattern that he's going to shoot, and I'll just point it out for you. Here's a key ball that can set you up for the 9. And the 9 is a key ball that can set you up for the 14. And then the 14 can set you up for this ball. It's key balls all the way down. And then this ball is a key ball to get you on the 2 ball. Once that's done, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 balls left on the table. And you're in your end pattern, and you never had to take a risk and bump a ball. How does this work? It works by recognizing the pattern of the key balls all the way down and staying on the right side of the balls. So I always talk about the shot line. Here's a shot line to the 9. So if you want to play position from the 9 to this ball on the side, you got to stay you got to stay above the 9, because you want to be able to hold the cue ball or let it slide a little bit this way to get the correct angle on the 14. Same thing for every single ball in this series. When you shoot the 14, here's the shot line for the 14 in the side. You need to be below the shot line, because if you're above it, your cue ball is going the wrong way off the 14. You want to be below it so that your cue ball can go this way and you can get the right angle on the next ball. So key balls all the way down, and you achieve that by staying on the right side of the shot line. Taking another look at what passes, what goes where. I mentioned this before. There's a lot of studying and planning and going, because you're looking for that pattern of minimal cue ball movement, and each ball leading. One ball leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next. That's because each one's a key ball. It's a key ball all the way down. Each ball is a key ball for the next ball. So notice, before he shot the 9, he went and looked at the angle for the 14. He wants to keep the cue ball below the shot line to the 14 in the side. He's already looked at the next ball. I believe it's this one. It might not be. I don't remember. Let's see what he shoots. Yeah, that's definitely going to be this striped ball. Notice, here's the shot line. He's below the shot line so that he can hold the correct angle. Now, I went over and looked, the angle for the 2 ball. From the 2 ball, I suppose you could keep the cue ball down table. Maybe you could pull it up here. Actually, this looks like the 8 ball. From that ball, maybe you could get this angle on the 2. Then you come around and get the up table ball, and then you have 3 remaining balls down table to play position to. There's a number of ways to do it. And he's making that decision right now. Let's see what he decides. It depends on what angle you have on the 14. Whether he needs to go to the side rail or he can just hold the cue ball in the middle of the table without going to the side rail. Okay, so he chose, very interesting. That's one of the reasons I chose this rack. I just mentioned keeping the cue ball down table and shooting 1 or 2 more of these balls. Steve realized he's got a key ball in the 9 or the 15. Either one is a key ball to get on the 2 and the 13. So he chose that moment to go get the up table ball. I like this decision because now you have 5 balls down table, all set up perfectly, and you can maneuver through them using this all key balls all the way down. So now he can shoot this solid, play position for the 2, or he can shoot the 13 and draw back. Either way can work. Just stay on the right side of the shot line. It was really interesting on the shot he just played, too. If you watch it back, I mentioned last week about Danny Berruti's elbow and keeping his elbow up, and you saw the same thing from Steve Lipsky right there on that little draw shot. So now he just went and looked, shot line for the 2. You want to stay below the shot line so you can slide up for your break ball. Look how easy a rack can appear, how simple the shots are, but it's not easy. You've got to be able to control the cue ball using your key balls and staying on the right side of the shot line. Real simple sounding lesson, but boy, that's the challenge of straight pool. Hardest game there is. Now Steve's got almost the same break shot. Actually, it's a little bit different. He has a shallow angle again, almost parallel, but the break ball is a little bit higher this time. Now, to open this rack, the break ball is a little lower, and he used a high ball and went to the bottom rail. This time the break ball's up higher. He's going to hit the center of the rack. And I'm not sure if he's drawing the ball or using center or just a center ball, but he's going to hit the top side, I believe, of this ball. And a man after my own heart, he's going to hit it pretty hard. Cue ball's going to go all the way up table. So that's not really a draw stroke. He's stunned it up there from a really forceful stroke. Great break shot. Fortunate that this ball ended up right at the corner pocket. He got a super simple shot to start, and then there's no more up table balls, and everything else is open down table. So I'll put a link in the description to this run. I believe it was an 85 and out in a tournament. A great run to watch. Just another amateur like myself who's a master of cue ball control. I'm not saying I'm a master of cue ball control. I'm saying I'm an amateur. But Steve Lipsky is a 200 ball runner, and if you want to learn to play straight pool, he's somebody you want to be aware of. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that and got something out of it. Remember, it's key balls all the way down, and if you want to play straight pool, remember to play it straight. See you next week on Rack of the Week. Bye.